What's going on, guys? Welcome to I believe it's Week 6 recap. Josh and I are going to discuss every game on the Week 6 slate, and we can even include the Monday night game in that because we just literally seconds ago finished watching Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills blow that game. You want to just lead off with that one?
Yeah, might as well. That was a questionable play call there at the end of the game.
Dude, you are my witness. What did I say before the play? I said that he's too lanky.
He's too big.
He's not a good quarterback sneaker. I said I would rather.
He's too big of a person to
right, and it's just
slip in there.
He's long-limbed, you know. He's long-limbed, you know what I mean? Like he's got the lanky leg. Like every time he does a quarterback sneak, to me it looks awkward, you know.
Right.
And that just goes for his entire career that I've seen. But what he can and what he would have converted with, in my opinion, is just like a quarterback power. You know, just let him just take it and jump over these dudes because he's clearly willing and able to do that. Or maybe a hard play action and get him on the move and let him, if nobody's wide open, then let him run for it and jump over somebody again. I will say, though, I thought he might have got that first down.
It looked like it was stopped, but at the end of the day, it's like...
Oh, no, not on the fourth down. I'm saying on the third down play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was
It was
close.
awfully close, yeah.
That was pretty close, but, I mean, he put his body on the line, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great game.
He's totally willing to do that. And I told you last week, the last couple weeks, I've said the Titans are one of those teams with that championship pedigree. They're not quite a championship contender per se, but they've got the kind of pedigree that's just going to, like Seattle does. Seattle played Pittsburgh down to the wire last night because they just are that kind of an organization. They're built that way with a very good coach, and that's what the Titans are to me. So, yeah, it was a great game. Great victory for the Tennessee Titans, and a much needed one too because they play the Chiefs next week, and now the Titans are 4-2. The Buffalo Bills are 4-2, and the Titans own a tiebreaker over them in the case that they finish with the same record. So, who knows? That could be huge.
Yeah, that was a good game. You know, there was a lot of fantasy implications on that game as well.
Yeah, I lost a couple leagues. I lost a couple leagues officially because of Josh Allen going for 353 and 3 touchdowns, and also catching the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate.
It's weird to me that the Bills kind of went back to the not so balanced attack in terms of like runs by the running backs, especially.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary had just 5 carries, and he was averaging over almost 5.5 yards per carry. Zach Moss, 8 carries. You know, so it wasn't. It was pretty much just drop back and pass, which is just so weird to me considering how that didn't work against the Titans last year. You know. Obviously, it worked much better in this game, but I think at times the lack of balance hurt them offensively. So one thing they are balanced on is the way they're distributing the football in terms of who he's throwing to.
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel Sanders had 91 yards on 5 catches. Diggs had 89. Beasley had 88. You know, and then you got Knox and Gabriel Davis with 25 each, and the running backs had 16, 15. I mean, a bunch of different guys. Even Tommy Sweeney caught a touchdown pass for 1 yard. So it was just a nice
A.J. Brown went nuts in the second half. 7 catches for 91 yards.
And I know some A.J. Brown owners are pretty pumped about that because he has shown like almost no signs of life in this whole
he's been in a bit of a slump.
Yeah, but caught 7 of 9 targets. Julio had a decent game, I guess, 3 for 59, but then he got hurt at the end, and I'm starting to, worry about Julio because he's a bit older now, and we're starting to see these injuries kind of stack up and lingering, and I wasn't going to call him injury prone until he showed me that he's injury prone, and he's starting to show legitimate signs of injury prone. So that's not very good.
I think if we did a redraft, everyone in the world would go back and draft Derrick Henry number one overall in their fantasy drafts. I mean the guy is an absolute monster.
That's fair.
I mean, 20 carries, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns.
His boom weeks are just
booms.
Yeah, like nobody else can really do what he. No. I mean, we don't see 143 and 3 touchdowns.
He's like
very often.
can't get hurt. He's just massive. He just runs people.
He ran over Star Lotulelei.
He runs so angry.
And Star's a 315-pound nose tackle that is incredibly strong, and he looked like a safety just falling off of Henry's legs, like trying to tackle him. It was
incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, should we even be surprised at this point, honestly?
No. The only thing I'm concerned about with him is the same thing I'm always concerned about is this punishing style,
Yeah, I mean, he literally runs to hurt people.
Yeah. And I'm just saying from a fantasy standpoint, I'm rooting for Derrick Henry. But just from the fantasy standpoint, like there's guys like Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, who are obviously not on Henry's level. And those guys, to me, play a much less physically wearing game. They're not taking damage as much as Henry is. But again, Henry is, I'm pretty sure he's the RB1 so far, and he's he's just awesome. He's a dominant player. He's to me, if he can even sustain this level of production for like 2 more years, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and
yes, 100%.
Could probably go down as one of the very best running backs to ever play this game. Like,
he is
maybe the best.
He is the number 1 running back in Chalk Your Bets with 134 fantasy points. I have the number 2 and 3.
Najee Harris?
And Austin Eckler.
Wait, in our league you have Austin Eckler?
Yeah.
You have... Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you had Henry as well.
No.
I was like, what the fuck?
No, the top 2. Austin Eckler, then Najee Harris.
Yeah. So anyways, the Bills, do they have a bye week next week? Did we ever figure that out? We were just talking about that. They're on a bye week next week. Then they go and they get to host Miami. Week 7 is their bye. So
oh yeah, you're right.
That means that, and I don't think the Bills, just to be clear, have anything to worry about per se. But when you lose a game like this, right, on a play call like that, I think what helps them is that their culture is so strong, right? But to me, now you've got to go brew on this thing for 2 weeks. Like, I could see it kind of driving a little bit of maybe some distrust in the coaching staff to a degree. I don't think it'll be a huge deal, but I didn't like the play call, and I don't think a lot of players like that play call because they know Josh Allen is much more difficult to stop when he can actually be an athlete. Tom Brady's not an athlete. He's a great quarterback sneaker. You know what I mean? That's kind of the difference there. And also, like I mentioned, I know Allen and Brady are the same size, like height, but I just feel like Allen is so much more lanky, and Brady does a really good job of getting his pads low and finding and reading and feeling where the hole is to open up on that quarterback sneak. He's one of the best ever to do it. But Josh Allen's not that guy, right, in that regard. But what Josh Allen can do is be a much better athlete than Tom Brady, and I think that's what you should have done. I would have liked to see, I think, in hindsight, maybe a play action and just get him on the move, and at that point, he's going to pick up a yard or he's going to score. He's going to throw a touchdown pass to somebody wide open. But anyways, big win for the Titans. Huge win for the Titans, man. Wow. But again, I've said this on many of our podcasts lately. I don't underestimate that team because I never count them out. I'm sure I picked the Bills to win the game, but they're never an easy out.
Right. Veteran presence, excellent coaches,
mentally stable, tough. They're usually not going to beat themselves.
They're like that blue collar.
Yeah. And they also have what is clearly the best running back in football on their team. One of the best players in the NFL. If you want to tell me that running backs don't matter, tell that to the Tennessee Titans. Because I guarantee you could put a whole lot of people like to use the day 3 running back examples. Put Raheem Mostert in that offense. It's not like the impact would be severe.
He's got 640 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, and we're not even halfway through the season.
6 games.
Yeah, he's averaging over 100 yards a game. And are you sure that updated for tonight? Because that feels low. Okay. Anyways, so let's move on to the we want to go Thursday night?
Yeah, we did Thursday night on our last
Oh, that's
pod.
right.
So we're going to go to London. We're going to go across the pond here.
All
Dolphins, Jags.
Dolphins, Jags.
Jags got their first W of the season.
Yeah, not just of this season, but
of last season.
They won week 1 last season and lost every game since. You know what I mean? That
was a big win.
Remarkable. So, the positives for Jacksonville to me were Trevor Lawrence played his best game.
Yes, he did.
As a Jaguar.
25 for 41, 319 yards, 1 touchdown. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad.
He was good, though. I saw more splash plays out of him in terms of throws from the pocket as well.
He definitely looked a lot more comfortable.
The game's slowing down for him at least to some level. I still want to see more runs. He only had 2 for 11, you know. But he was really good. My guy Marvin Jones had a big bounce-back game.
Nuts.
I was starting to really worry about Marvin just because
him and Chenault both had double-digit targets in that game. I mean, he was just tossing the rock.
Look, the fantasy-relevant receiver in Jacksonville for the rest of the season is only Marvin Jones. Yes. Chenault is going to have games like this,
right?
But he's also going to have games where it's 1 for 12 or 1 for he's going to have a lot of those types.
Unless Trevor Lawrence just gets astronomically better as the season goes on.
Even then, I would put more of a wager on Agnew becoming that guy. Agnew had 5 for 78 in this game.
Yeah,
and I also like Dan Arnold in that system. I think he's 3 different tight ends caught a pass for them in that game, so that's pretty interesting. And they also targeted a 4th tight end one time. So they're trying to really mix in the tight ends there and all that stuff. But yeah, Marvin had 7 for 100 and a touchdown, and that was a phenomenal throw and a great catch on that long touchdown pass that he caught there.
Yes.
But yeah, man, the Dolphins, right? I'll start with one positive for them, and that was definitely their quarterback. Tua played, to me, I thought it was his best game as a pro. And over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 33 of 47. That's a pretty damn high completion percentage. Let's see what that is. 30.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but he was
70%.
He was good. He was good in this one.
Yeah, no, he wasn't great, but he was a good quarterback in this game. And it was
a close game.
It started ugly for both offenses. It was like, oh boy, these guys aren't going to score many points. And then it just kind of they just hit their stride, and they both threw the ball. They both made legit NFL throws. Tua did what he does. He hit Gesicki. And by the way, for whoever dropped Mike Gesicki after his donut in week 1, hey, I didn't tell you to drop him. I did not tell you to drop him. As a matter of fact, I told you immediately to pick him up. So Gesicki went 8 for 115 on 9 targets. So we caught 8 of 9. Jalen Waddle, 10 for 70, man. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he balled out.
He had his best game as a pro.
But it's safe to say that we cannot trust Myles Gaskin going forward.
That's so weird. You on paper, you think, oh, Jacksonville, that's a good matchup. Just like on paper the week before, you thought Tampa, that's a bad matchup.
Right.
What do you have, 15 combined touches against Tampa for 99 yards, and then in Jacksonville he has a combined 11 yards on
doesn't make any
6
sense
touches
whatsoever.
Or something crazy. Yeah,
he can't be trusted. So if you have Myles Gaskin, I would just leave him on your bench for now.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer. I think you're exactly right. Do nothing. When you don't know what to do nothing. Right? You can't feel comfortable starting him at this point. So just keep him on your bench and see what happens from here on out. Because it seems as though Flores is taking the kind of Patriot-esque approach of, it'll be a new running back each week, possibly kind of thing. And although this year it's been strictly Damian Williams from the Patriots. But
yeah, it's been
make sure you get these timestamps. If you I don't know, if you haven't, try. But anyways, so yeah, man, I thought it was actually a really good game for a 7:30 a.m. game in London. I thought that was encouraging,
right?
And the Jaguars have had kicking issues all year, so for their kicker to come in and make 2 long field goals down the stretch and 1 to win it, that was impressive.
Yeah, that was actually a good game to start the morning out.
It was a much better game than I was anticipating, and also than what it looked like early on. It looked like it was not a very entertaining game, and then all of a sudden, good things happen. So,
well, kudos to the Jaguars for getting their first W of the season.
Yeah. Is Urban Meyer off of the hot seat for now?
No. Absolutely not.
So if they go out and get clobbered next week, then he could be gone?
Potentially. For sure.
Yeah. Who do they play next week? They're on a bye. Oh, wow. So that's huge for them to be able to win a game, go on their bye, and then after that they have
and get ready.
They go to Seattle in Week 8, and I don't think Russell Wilson will be playing.
No, he
in that
won't
game.
be playing.
So
he's on IR.
To me, that's a winnable game. If they can win that freaking game and put 2 wins in a row together, I mean, that would be huge for the Jaguars, in my opinion. So, anyways, take that for what you will. Let's move it on down to the Chiefs and the Washington football team. So, in this game, first of all, Taylor Heineke, I'm sorry. He started him over Kirk Cousins because
It was ugly. Absolutely ugly.
Yeah, it was.
I dropped the QB1 of the week for the QB 31 of the week.
Yeah.
It's quite embarrassing. I lost that game matchup, obviously. Yeah. But, hey, sometimes you have to take a L.
Look, sometimes matchups look good on paper, and they don't look good in terms of, like, you know, the actual matchup on the field in terms of personnel.
Yeah.
To me, I thought they looked good I thought Heineke looked good in both of those areas, but it did not manifest. Obviously, Antonio Gibson getting hurt did not help matters. And but yeah, I think Heineke had his lowest.
Yeah, it was awful. Did you see that interception by the lineman? He just took it out of the air and held it against the tackle and just monstered it. I mean, that was incredible. But then again, it was kind of just basically summing up Taylor Heineke's game.
Yeah, it was what it was. He had the nice throw to Seals Jones. That was about it.
Yeah, they dominated. Well, it was kind of a slugfest there in the first half. Really weird. Mahomes wasn't quite playing well again, which is funny. He threw 2 picks in this one again. But they came out and dominated in the second half.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about Justin Herbert being awesome, right? And in week 1, who did Justin Herbert play? Played the Washington football team, and he did not, go crazy. He had I think less than 200 yards pass. It was like a very efficient, quick game kind of thing. Washington's not getting sacks because teams are getting rid of the ball very quickly against them because they respect the pass rush. And also, I said before this game, when we were doing the preview, I believe, I said, don't ever discount the Washington football team's defense being good even in a week against the Chiefs. Like it wasn't out of the realm of possibility. Now, I know you're thinking Mahomes threw for almost 400 yards and they scored 31 points. I get all that, but Mahomes turned the ball over a lot, and like you said, it was a slugfest early. If the Washington offense could have given them some, balance in that way, I think it could have been.
If Taylor Heineke played good football, it'd be a completely different game.
And it also, to me, would have been a different game even for the Chiefs offense. It would have made, if you can sustain drives, it makes your defense better. If you're out there not making anything happen, offensively, your defense is going to be put in bad spots. And, if you're turning the football over too, especially, that's another thing that hurts. Antonio Gibson lost the fumble, and then Heineke threw a pick. So
they allowed just 76 yards in the second half.
Who?
The Chiefs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's going to make your defense worse. And I think that's where the majority of the Chiefs' damage. Yes, Chiefs scored 21 of their 31 in the second half. So there's no coincidence in
Mahomes makes a ridiculous throw. Did you see that?
Oh, my God.
Outside the numbers, across
I
the field to the other side of hash marks.
I retweeted that today.
I mean, my
Jeff
God.
Schwartz tweeted it, and it was like...
But, yeah, it was...
That's just some shit you don't see anyone
He's a magician.
Do. That was insane.
They were good. The Chiefs are good on third down today. They have the league high 60% conversion rate on third down.
Wow. That's insane.
But, yes, it was ugly for both teams in the first half, honestly. And then Heineke was completely awful, 24 for 39, 182 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it
wasn't good.
No. If you started Darrell Williams this week, pat yourself on the back. You're going to keep riding him until Edwards-Helaire is back. He had 21 for 62.
And even then,
2 touchdowns and then another 27 yards through the air. Tyreek Hill had an injury scare, came back and finished 9 for 76 and a touchdown.
Yeah, did his thing. I'm starting to think Darrell Williams may even have standalone value when Clyde comes back. And the reason I think that is because he is in a lesser version. He's the Kareem Hunt to the Nick Chubb of
and he also might be better than Hilaire.
No,
I mean,
he's not better.
He's been
he's
very
better
dismal.
at certain things. Hilaire had back-to-back 100-yard rushing games.
Yeah, he did, but I'm just saying he's
not a better pure runner than Clyde. It's not even close. I mean, look, even in this game, he averaged less than 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
About 3 yards a carry. But the point is, what his role is that of Kareem Hunt's role, which is the pass-catching back and also the goal line back. That's what Kareem Hunt is, and that's why he has standalone value, because his touches are never going to be as much as Chubb, where Darrell Williams' touches are never going to be as much as Hilaire, but he's going to be a factor, and I think that Eagle game showed you where Williams had, in that game, 10 carries, 42 yards, 2 catches for 16 yards. He had a rushing touchdown as well. He had 13.8 PPR fantasy points in that one. So, it's... I think that it's possible. So, even when Clyde comes back, I wouldn't dump Darrell Williams just yet.
No, of course, you got to hang on to him at this point.
Yeah.
He's going to be involved.
Yeah, I'm just saying because he may even have standalone value. That's all.
Right, yeah. What you're saying is he will still be involved.
Yeah.
Once Edwards
absolutely.
Back. Yeah.
You know what I'm excited for next week is the Kansas City Chiefs are going to Tennessee.
That's going to be a hell of a game.
It's going to be an awesome game.
In Tennessee?
It's a big game, too, because the Chiefs are 3-3. The Titans are 4-2. Yes, it is in Tennessee. And so if you're the Titans, you're looking at that like we have an opportunity to really put some separation and own a tiebreaker over Kansas City. Whereas if you're the Chiefs, you're thinking we're about to tie Tennessee and have a tiebreaker over them. So it's a huge swing there in any potential direction. So yeah. Tough loss for Washington.
Gibson was hurt again.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, I did.
He's in and out of the game.
He's
all game.
I think he was out most of the second half, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think McLaurin was a bust this week. 4 for 28 on 8 targets. Heineke was just awful.
Yeah. Washington, to me, will be okay. I just don't think they're a playoff team this year.
No, absolutely not.
I think that, look, next week they play at Green Bay, then they go at Denver. Denver, that's a very winnable game. It's looking much more winnable than it was this time last week, I'll say that much. But then they have Tampa, Carolina, very winnable, especially Ron Rivera revenge game, considering he lost to them last year. And that one's in Carolina. So, yeah, they're going to compete. They're never going to be out of it until I think the very end. But I don't see them as a playoff team this year, unfortunately. But so let's move right along. Where we got next, Lay?
Rams, Giants.
Ooh, oh yeah, let's make this quick. Look,
Daniel Jones came back down to earth.
Yeah, that's true.
It was awful. The strip sack, first play of the game. Lucky to get it back.
Did anybody see Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, he dominated
that first possession. It was like, oh my god, like the dude.
He looked unstoppable before his re-aggravation of his injury.
Yeah,
he's a good pickup. Once he's healthy,
I just hope
fantasy.
Any idea on how long he'll be gone? Are they saying how severe it is?
I have no idea, but I'm guessing.
Yeah. The funny thing about this, the Rams offense wasn't very good. So, I called the under in this game, which was 48, so I was wrong by a point. And if the Giants offense were just a little better, I think the under would have clearly hit, because if your offense can't sustain drives, as I just mentioned about the Washington football team, then your defense can be put in bad spots. The Rams offense wasn't spectacular. Stafford was efficient, but the game plan was just like the golf game plan last year when these two teams played. It was quick game. It was not a lot of holding the ball, right? 22 of 28. We're not, we're going to run the ball a lot because we don't want your pass rush to be able to get off. And, Stafford had 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and John Wolford also threw a pick.
Did you see the no look that he threw?
I did, and I noticed how no one's talking about that.
It was wild.
If it were Mahomes, it'd be on every
right.
Yeah. But and that's weird because he's in LA now.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, and Darrell Henderson was held in check, although he still had a great fantasy day with a touchdown, 78 rushing yards, and then he also had 29 receiving yards and another touchdown there. So
Cooper Kupp did his thing again.
Yeah, Robert Woods got in the end zone, still played about 85% of the snaps, but
saw 3 targets.
Only caught he was 5, but wasn't. But James Bradbury was covering him,
right?
So
they went pretty damn good player. So
they went the with the easier matchup. So one thing I'll say,
easy win for the Rams.
I love Joe Judge. But right now, I'm not sure if that was a very good hire. And here's the thing that kills me. People are all over me saying, oh, you thought Dave Gettleman was a great GM. I still think Dave Gettleman is a very good GM. I think there's plenty of talent in New York for the Giants. I just don't think Joe Judge is doing a good enough job.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's going to get interesting to see what happens. This continues.
Yeah. I mean, 1-5 Giants, they're way too talented for that. You know, and they lost a game too. They lost games that they shouldn't have lost. They just, you know, obviously they've got the injuries. We can't, you know, not ignore that. But Daniel Jones, again, you said, came back down to earth. Yeah, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks in this one.
Yeah, he was outright awful in this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought they were way too pass heavy early on anyways. I thought they should have cut, you know, more into the run. But is Dante Pettis worth a pickup if Tony and Golladay are out next week? I kind of think he is.
I don't know. Sterling Shepard's going to go nuts next week, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, Pettis was targeted 11 times, caught 5 for 48, but 11 targets is interesting, especially when you look at a team that's 1-5 and they're probably going to be losing.
What did Evan Ingram do this week?
Evan Ingram had 3 for 24 on 5 targets.
Just being Evan Ingram?
He's just never going to be a startable fantasy option, as Steffi Smalls will tell you, because she's been on that train for a good while now. But for the Rams, I think I read that this was their second 5-1 start in like the last 20 years or something crazy. So they're pretty damn good. Yeah, so they're really good. Stafford, I mean, there's no weakness on that football team. That's why you can go in and beat a team like the Giants 38-11. Now, I'm not saying the Giants are a spectacular football team, but to go in there and beat them in their home stadium 38-11.
They more than beat them. They pummeled them.
Yeah, it was just domination. And especially after that first drive, it looked like, oh, yeah, Giants plus 10's looking great.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Not so
crushed.
Fast. Not so fast, but let's see here.
Texans, Colts,
my guy Jonathan Taylor.
A.K.A. Jonathan Touchdown.
Jonathan Touchdowns, baby. He, what did you tell me earlier? He had his second carry. Didn't have a second carry until like
4 minutes left or so in the second half.
In the third quarter.
In the second quarter, yeah.
Second quarter or third quarter?
I think it was the second quarter.
Oh, you told me third quarter before. Doesn't matter.
Second
Point
quarter.
Is, he wasn't involved, and then
he came out of half and went fucking nuts.
Well, he took one for about 85,
mm-hmm.
you know,
and then plunged it in.
Scored, and then he got it in from a yard out, and then I believe it was the next series, he ended up with scoring an 11-yard touchdown run. So something interesting to monitor, right? Carson Wentz, the big issue with him last year was, hey, this guy is turning the ball over obviously way too much. Okay, he only has, I think, 1 interception this season. Phenomenal. He was 11 of 20 for 223, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I think that we need to see, you know, a little bit more aggression from him now. I think we've established that he can take care of the ball, and I'd like to see them slowly but surely get him, you know, some more chunk play. I know he had the 51-yarder to Paris Campbell, and that was awesome. But I think just a little bit more. Let's push it a little bit, you know, a little bit more. In my opinion.
I completely agree.
T.Y. Hilton had 4 for 80, so that was awesome.
Yeah, but then he went out with injury again.
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of injuries this week. We'll have to we'll catch up on those. But yeah, I mean, it was a complete domination. The Texans just aren't a good team. Davis Mills came back down to earth after last week's good performance.
Yeah,
29 for 43, 243 yards.
I mean, they in 2
average, average 5.7 yards
was the biggest issue in my opinion. 3 points, you know.
That was not good.
And this could have been a get right game for that Colts defense because I really think that that's still a good defense, as I've been saying about Washington.
Yeah, but they're
New
just going to continue to struggle because they're just not a good team.
The Colts?
No, the Texans.
No, I'm talking about the Colts. Like I think it's a get right game for their defense.
Oh yeah,
you know, in a good get right spot. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, 158 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. So let's maybe just give him a couple more carries.
Yeah,
Frank,
seriously.
right? Like, let's give the guy some touches.
30 carries a game.
Like
honestly.
He's not one of those guys like Aaron Jones or one of those guys that you need to Alvin Kamara. He's a guy that you feed like the Steelers are feeding Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the Titans are feeding Derrick Henry, you know what I mean? That like maybe not quite to that extreme, but very close in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a great
He'll only
back.
get better as the game goes on. That's the thing. So a little bit disappointing from Michael Pittman, but again, Carson Wentz only attempted 20 passes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was a 31-3 slobber knocker, so it wasn't even close. But Who do the Colts play next week? I'd like to see. They play the San Francisco Sunday night.
It'll be a good game.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Anyways, let's move on here. We've got the Bengals and Lions. This was the most important win of the Bengals season, and I know it was against the
dominated.
Lions. They were supposed to, and they did, and it was on the road. That was the important part, in my opinion. Like, they needed to go in there, and instead of, having the game against Jacksonville where they go down 14-0, they needed to go in there and just say, we're better than you, and we're going to dominate you.
Yeah, Burrow tossed a great game. 19-29.
3 touchdowns.
271, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Only took 2 sacks.
Yeah, that's good. Jamar Chase had another really good game.
Did you see the block he made on that Joe Mixon touchdown?
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's a beast. Not only can he catch, now he can just pummel people to the ground.
Right. Yeah, he's the real deal for sure.
Yeah, he's good.
I tweeted out during the game, DeAndre Swift for fantasy is the guy that you don't you regret starting him for the first 2.5 quarters.
Right.
And then you're like, thank God I started him because he finishes strong.
Yeah, he's literally averaging 18 points through 6 games. I mean, he got 17 in PPR this week. I mean, you have to start him. Oh, no, he is absolutely a must start. But I'm just saying, he doesn't do anything for the first 2.5 quarters, and, and then he goes crazy. He's So, but to me, he's a high-end. I mean, he's a mid-range RB2, and that's a significant value if you got him in the 3rd round. So, I mean, a lot of people got him even later than that. So, kudos to them.
Yeah, maybe the 4th. I know that's one league for you that he lasted way long, but yeah, I've got an issue in our league. I've got at tight end, I've got Dalton Schultz, I've got Mike Gesicki, and Logan Thomas. So, I need to
Logan Thomas.
He's on IR, so
Washington football team, Logan Thomas?
Yeah.
Drop him.
No way. He's on IR. Why would I drop him?
He's on the Washington football team.
But I'm saying dude, here's his point totals. Just so you
don't need to hold on
12,
to 3 of them.
9.5, 13.2. That's the competitive advantage against you guys who need tight ends. Who's your tight end? Yeah, he's like, drop Logan Thomas.
I don't.
Who's your tight end?
I don't need Logan Thomas.
Who you got?
Zach Ertz.
Oh, Zach
yeah.
Ertz. Oh. Well, never mind. He's got it all figured out.
Yeah, he's on the Cardinals now.
Oh, God, stop. They have 18 weapons to throw to. He's just going to be a guy that randomly has a good game.
But it's better than the option I had at Austin Hooper.
See, as you're proving my point, you need a tight end, and I've got.
But I don't want Logan Thomas.
Okay, so I'm not dropping him.
Right, but I don't want him.
Mm-hmm. My point is, as of right now, he's not taking up a roster spot.
I mean, technically he is.
He's taking up an IR spot, but I don't need any. If I needed the IR spot for someone else, maybe I would.
When's he back?
I don't know, a few weeks, whatever. We'll see. But
so what's your predicament? You want to get rid of him?
No. I also have Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki. You know what I mean? So I've got several options. My point is, Mike Gesicki had 19.5 points. Dalton Schultz had 12.9, and I almost lost. So luckily I still won, but yeah. But I'm gonna eventually trade one of these tight ends. Is my thing. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna probably trade. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, man. So the Bengals defense was phenomenal.
Yeah, they were good.
The Lions were not as competitive as they have been lately, and I think that really just goes to show you that Cincinnati's actually a good team. And they went out and did their thing. I thought it was interesting that the Lions coach Campbell called out Goff at the end of the game, basically said he needs to do more or something along those lines. What do you think about that?
I think he just lost it. Yeah, he's taking a team to the Super Bowl, but I don't know if he just literally lost it, can't see anything. The defenses have figured him out. He just lost a step. I mean, he was dismal in this one.
Yeah.
28 for 42, 202 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, Hawkinson got back on track. He had 11 targets, 8 for 74. But
yeah, that was good. But here's the thing. Here's my issue
I don't
with Jared
understand
Goff.
What happened to Jared Goff.
You know how I like the splits, right? So Goff in his first, 4 games was completing 68.3% of his passes, averaging 275 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks, 6.8 yards an attempt. Not great, but he was very good for the first 4 games. He was solid. Last 2 games, and these games have been against who now? The Vikings and the Bengals. So not teams that are known for defensive juggernauts, but solid defenses nonetheless. Goff is completing 63.6, averaging 202 yards a game, has not thrown a touchdown, has thrown 2 interceptions, is averaging 5.26 yards per pass attempt. So that is not the same guy, as what we've seen for the rest. I mean, he even played a lot better against Baltimore, 22 of 30 in that game for 217. So, yeah, I think he's got to play better. He's got to play at least as well as he was playing on those first 4 games, in my opinion, for them to really feel like he's the guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I still feel comfortable with Detroit in their future, but obviously things did not pan out well for them in this one.
No, and, that was an ugly one.
I think it was a better win for Cincy than it was a bad loss for Detroit, if that makes any sense.
Like you said, they were, destined to win this game coming into it.
Yeah, they needed to.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a potential trap game too, so I'm not gonna lie. That was a good win though. So anyway, Cincy is now 4-2. They're for real. The poor Lions are 0-6. But I promise, guys, that win is coming. Who do they play next week? Oh no, you don't even want to know. They play at the Rams.
Yeah.
Stafford revenge game. It's gonna be lock of the week probably for me. All right. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. So, Lay, after I left here,
Aaron Rodgers still owns the Bears.
He made that very clear. And Aaron also knows where the cameraman would be at. And he knew that'd be picked up. And he's A-Rod. He's got some
Said he blacked
swag,
out. That shit was hilarious.
He didn't black out. He just
No, of course he didn't black out.
He wanted to let it be known, that whole last dance thing, and he said, this might be the last time I'm ever in Soldier Field. I want to, he wanted to make it clear how he felt to them.
Right.
And he wanted the cameras to catch it.
And it was badass.
Yeah, it was. It was. But he didn't have a great game. Threw for under 200 yards in this game.
But he only threw it 23 times.
It's very true. It was that shows you how much respect they had for the Bears' defense. They did not want to make that critical mistake and be put in a position where they were playing from behind because they knew that was the only chance the Bears had to beat them. And the Bears, in fact, did go down and score a touchdown on the opening drive. And I even tweeted out, this is kind of an arrogant tweet on my part, but I was right, so I'm going to share it with you guys. I tweeted out, which you probably saw. I said the Bears took their opening drive down the field, 80 yards for a touchdown. 7-0 Bears. I don't know if I said 7-0 Bears, but I said I would still be willing to bet they don't crack 17 points. They scored 14. So that aged well, as some of you would never say, but it did. Anyways, so yeah, man, the Packers did what they were supposed to do. It was a game against a very good Chicago Bears defense. Let me say something crazy. The Bears might have the best defense in football. I think they're that good because
think so.
For them to win games that they are scoring 17 points a game in. They won 3 out of 4 before this, averaging 17 a game. That's not normal in 2021. Right? You got a quarterback completing 50% of his passes. You know what I mean? He's not playing very well, and you're winning games. And you're doing so even with, I know Montgomery just got hurt or whatever, but I just think it's pretty impressive in terms of what the defense is doing for them to win football games. So I think that was impressive. Justin Fields completed 59% of his passes in this one, so much better than some of his outings.
Still a work in progress, obviously trying to find his footing. I mean, he had a career high 43 rush yards, so
that's good. They need to start utilizing him more in that aspect of this game because he can absolutely run. And when you get him on the move, too, start running, and then you can get him on the move, and he can throw the ball and zip that thing down there. He's got big-time arm talent.
He's a work in progress.
I like him, but I don't like how he's played so far.
If you were able to grab Khalil Herbert off the waivers, he had a great day.
That was huge.
19 for 97, 1 touchdown. He also had 1 called back. I don't know if you saw that, but
oh, I didn't.
Yeah. He should have had 2, but we won't go there. I think he's still going to be involved when Montgomery comes back. I mean, he's proven it.
No.
Over the last 2 games.
Tariq Cohen's coming back at some point eventually, too. But anyways,
but he's a great player.
Herbert's a great player. He was a 7th-round pick a few months ago.
He's a good player.
Okay. Yeah, he's solid. He had a good game. We'll see. But yeah, the Packers did what they were supposed to do. The Bears, I wouldn't I wouldn't lose all hope from the Bears. Obviously, you lost, to a much better football team, and the Bears next week play Tampa. So the ultimate get right spot for them if they're able to beat the Buccaneers, which they did last year. So we'll see if they can pull that off again. Chargers, Ravens. Let's talk about them.
Wow, I did not see this coming, but then again, I forgot that the Chargers have one of the worst run Ds in NFL football.
Yeah, and that really, really showed.
Yes, it did.
It was just an all-around absolute beatdown by the Ravens, though. I think they deserve. The coaching staff outcoached the Rams, and that shows you kind of experience over, over the youthful new guy. Mm-hmm. Like those experienced coaches will oftentimes abuse the new guy, and I think that's what we saw.
Yeah, Herbert had a little bit of a down game. He only averaged 5 yards on his throws.
Yeah, he said he was like, "Look,
it just seemed like the Ravens D was just flying all over the place."
He said they confused me. They were showing looks that they haven't showed on tape all year long, and it was just a phenomenal coaching masterpiece by the Baltimore Ravens.
John Harbaugh is, first ballot Hall of Fame as a coach.
Absolutely, and Wink Martindale, just an absolute stud of a defensive coordinator. They just had an answer for everything.
Lamar Jackson wasn't spectacular in this one, but he did the things they needed to win the game. The guy is a winner. The Ravens were very efficient on the ground, and it showed, like you said, 38 carries from 6 different players, averaging 4.9 yards a carry.
Only 4.9? I thought it would be more than that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's 5 yards a carry.
I know.
38 carries, 6 different people.
Just
it was a total team effort.
It's for sure. I think Latavius Murray got banged up in this one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, he scored 13. Devontae Freeman scored 12 fantasy points. Good solid starts if you had people on bye or battling injuries.
It worked out.
They're good little streamers. Chargers are on bye next week, so it's a good time for them to regroup and come back ready to play. Rashad Bateman made his debut.
Oh, yeah.
He had a first, solid outing, minus the drop that led to an interception. I don't know if you saw that.
He was targeted 6 times, so that's good. Yeah, no, I didn't see that, but I heard about it.
Yeah, but, look for him to get more involved as the season goes on.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown came this close to another touchdown. I don't know if you saw that or not, but he's a good player, man. He's a guy that's obviously the volume is always going to be a question because they're not going to throw it a ton, or at least.
If he does throw it, he's throwing it to Mark Andrews. That guy's a fantasy beast at this point. He's number 2 tight end overall in full PPR scoring.
That's why I said he's the first one I would take. Him and Hockenson in the 5th round. Yeah, he's to me justify that because they could finish as the tight end 1, and then you're getting extreme value there. But anyways, Herbert, yes, he didn't play well, but
their defense didn't help him at all.
I don't understand why Austin Eckler only carried the ball 6 times.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense for 7 yards.
Yeah, give him the rock, man. Let's try and
they had 12 carries the entire game.
I wonder what this coach thinks, what's his name, Staley, about the play-action pass game not mattering if you run. I think he's wrong about that.
Right.
I like all the other reasons he highlights that it's an important piece of the, effective offense. But I also and why running's an important piece of offense. But I think that when you run the ball well, play action obviously is going to work better.
Right.
Because those linebackers are getting sucked up. Come on. If you don't see that, no numbers can tell me otherwise.
They abandoned the run. I don't know why, but
yeah. It was
a shame.
To be fair, they were down 2 possessions early, but I think you still keep running the ball.
But you still have to establish the run because that opens up the play action pass.
Closer. You could have kept this game closer for longer, and then you're right. Have that run established, have the play action pass, suck up those linebackers, and then gash them in the seams and things like that.
Yeah, because Herbert can gash them. But
absolutely.
If the game flow is,
when you don't have a run, you allow Baltimore to show all those crazy looks.
Terrible.
Because now they're like, they're going to pass. Now we can dial it up and do all these exotic blitzes and things like that.
So. Yeah, that confused the hell out of me. They should have ran the ball a lot more, but hey, it is what it is. They got their ass whipped because of it, so kudos to them.
Yeah, and one thing, and really the last thing I want to say about this game, the Baltimore Ravens are Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, they are.
Absolutely.
They are so good.
I think they're now the number one team in the AFC, record-wise. I think they're the number one seed. So, with that Bills loss, yeah. So, shout out to them for that. And the Chargers, if you're a Chargers fan, here's what I will say to you. Don't make too much of this loss. You are still a very, very good team.
Of course.
It's not out of it was a bad matchup, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for you guys to go win the Super Bowl either. You know what I mean? I'm not that down on them. They have to get better against the run, or there'll be an early exit in the playoffs. But I think they can and will for the most part, to be honest. So, all right. Vikings at my Panthers. I hate to say it.
This was an ugly one.
I hate to say it, but I was kind of right about Sam again. I've been right, wrong, right. But, look, man, let me say this. So, since that second half of the Dallas game, this guy is completing 51% of his passes. So if you disregard what he did in the first half against Dallas, which is go 12-16 for 114 yards.
Well, here, I got a stat for you that you'll love.
Okay.
In the 3 games with McCaffrey, Darnold threw for 888 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, completing 68% of his passes and ran for another 5 touchdowns. In the 3 games without C-Mac, Darnold has thrown for 684 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 picks, and has completed only 54% of his attempts.
Mm-hmm. And what I was going to say is something very similar. It's just I'm not going to attribute it all to McCaffrey. I'm not. But what I'll say is since the second half of that Dallas game, he is completing 51.4% of his passes, averaging 5.65 yards per attempt, and then there's 4 touchdowns, like you said, and 6 interceptions. So to me, it's more so the fact that Sam Darnold's being asked to do a little bit more, and it's not working, right? He is reverting back to the seeing ghost Sam Darnold, in my opinion.
Yes,
so,
I completely agree. It
hurts my feelings.
It's a new team, so I was trying to give him benefit of the doubt, but
when you play that well for your first 3 games, that kind of you can't really use that benefit of the doubt as much, in my opinion.
Right. It's an unfortunate for the Panthers. And
dude, he was 3 of 17 or something crazy to start the game. It was awful. It was really bad. He did make 2 big-time 4th down throws to go tie the game, so I'll give credit where it's due in that regard. But
did you see Robbie Anderson?
Yeah, man.
He had 11 yards.
And I know what people are thinking.
On 11 targets.
Oh, my God. People are, rightly kind of making a case that there were a lot of drops to defend.
Oh, yeah, 8 drops.
8 drops, most, I think,
yesterday.
In a long time. And that's true. But, Sam also made his fair share of...
Yeah, he threw a pick on the first play of the game.
Yeah, and he, I think he lost a fumble too, didn't he?
Finished 17 of 41. He was... Yeah. Minnesota's D was 4 sacks, 1 pick, 2 fumble recoveries. They were all over the place. They should have blown him out.
Yep. And, yeah, man, Robbie Anderson, what is going on with that guy? I don't get it. It's wild. We need to see some more Terrace Marshall, in my opinion. DJ Moore was targeted 13 times, caught 5.
Yeah, but he's also hurting. His fantasy value is hurting due to Darnold's play right now.
Yep, no doubt. On the other side of this coin, we got the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook was back. I think he said that he wasn't fully healthy, but he ran for 140 yards, season high.
30 times, dude.
Avoided
31 times.
Avoided a setback. So if he wasn't fully healthy yesterday, he probably is now. Probably just with straight ambition because he fucking ran for 140 yards on a bum ankle
and a touchdown. Yeah, against a good defense in Carolina. And Madison touched the ball 3 times or carried the ball 3 times.
And Thielen
touched the ball 3
times. Yeah. Thielen went nuts. He had the best game of his season.
Thielen was
as far as receiving yards, 11 for
he couldn't be stopped. I talked about on this morning's podcast. Has anybody been more consistent than Adam Thielen over the last 5 years or so?
Probably not.
It is so fucking.
There was consistent. That 3-year stretch in fantasy where he was just
like a top 7, top 6 guy. Yeah,
averaging close to 20 points a game. He was an animal.
He's I'll say this. He might be an elite player.
Or at least I think his work ethic definitely shows because
first man in, last man out.
Yes, he is.
No, just joking.
He's a beast.
Anyways, Justin Jefferson also had a good game.
Solid.
But the big takeaway, other than Dalvin Cook being absolutely phenomenal, is Kirk fucking Cousins. 33 of 48 for 373, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks against the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's done that to them this year. Like, not with the yards and all that stuff. Like, unless I'm forgetting some. Dak had 4 touchdowns, but he didn't have the yards. He had, like, I think under 200. I don't recall a quarterback having this kind of success against the Panthers, which is why I told you not to start Kirk Cousins, right? But obviously that didn't pan out well because he was the QB either 1 or 2 of the week.
Well, regardless,
yeah,
that one hurt.
But I also will say, I know I told you guys I liked the under in this game. I think the under would have hit if it wasn't for all of the turnovers that led to good field position. The blocked there wasn't a blocked punt in this game, if I'm remembering correctly. There were a lot of plays like that contributed to points because I don't think the Carolina offense, without all that help, would have scored 28 points.
Yeah.
And I don't think in that case that the Vikings offense would have had to score 34 and it wouldn't have went to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think it would have been a really thorough beatdown by Minnesota had those couple little breaks hadn't happened. So
the Panthers are in trouble.
I'm worried about them losing to the Giants next week. I am. I know the Giants are kind of, at this point we're ready to kind of call it a year with them, but we were ready to call it a year with them until they went into Seattle last year and beat the Seahawks.
And
so
it's
beating
in New York,
Panthers in New York in a game where, guys' jobs are legitimately on the line. I think they'll come out ready to play, and I think that the Panthers better bring their A game, and I think that I wonder if what the health status is going to be of the Giants receivers moving forward. So that's obviously very important. But anyways, the Panthers now started 3-0. Panthers social media teams out there doing what they do, and now they're 3-3. So we'll see how they respond. Anyways, I'm rooting for the Panthers, guys. I know there's a lot of Panther fans that follow me because I'm a Panther fan. I like the Panthers. I love the Panthers. Okay?
You're just a realist.
I'm going to say the truth, like whether it makes me look wrong, right, whatever. I'm going to say the truth. I was extremely wrong about Kirk Cousins this week. He made me, have to own that, and I am. But at the end of the day, I'm worried about the Panthers. I think that if you're not, you're delusional.
Yeah, they're in trouble. Because
you lose 3 straight games, that's an issue, right? And against teams you probably should have beaten, the Vikings and the Eagles, right? It's not like it's to the Chiefs and Bills.
I think the Cowboys exposed them.
Maybe so, on the ground at least, in terms of how to attack them in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So anyways, Cardinals, Browns, another complete shocker for me.
Well, the Cards stay unbeaten. I mean, but it was also injury after injury after injury for the Browns. First it was Odell, then it was Baker, and then, of course, Kareem Hunt gets carted off the field.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're already out, Chubb.
He was carted off?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to miss several weeks was the report.
Yeah, he's got a calf injury, same as Nick Chubb. Like, how unfortunate for them.
I think Chubb has an ankle, doesn't he?
No, it's a calf. Yeah.
Okay, well, Kyler Murray, 4 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, just,
Yeah, A.J. Green went back to prime A.J. Green, 5 for 79.
He's due for another 2 or 3 more of these, I think, this season. So,
at this rate, he's due for several more because
maybe so. I'd say no more than 4.
5 for 79, 1 touchdown. Hopkins 3 for 55, 2 touchdowns. I mean, did you see that?
Is Hopkins becoming touchdown dependent?
Dude, but he scores in every game. So,
well, I'm just saying, that's if you could trade DeAndre Hopkins for Stephon Diggs right now, would you?
Yes,
I would too.
Yeah.
I would too. I'm not sure that I don't know what other people might think of that. Comment below. We need to start commenting below. I know some of you guys are watching. We're not getting crazy views, but for you that are watching right now, please give us a comment. That shit will help with the algorithm. It'll help boost the YouTube channel, and we will start being able to turn this dream into a reality. We'll see, but we need you to start commenting below. I know all the YouTubers say that, but it's true. We need it. We need it. Anyways, from the run game standpoint, we had, check this out, from the Cardinals. James Conner goes 16 for 71, so he averages 4.5 yards a carry, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Edmonds goes 4 for 46. Maybe you should give Chase more. Yeah.
Yeah, more opportunity, maybe?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah,
let me see. What did Chase do as a receiver in this one? Three catches for 4 yards. See, the issue with Chase as a back with receiving value is the fact that they just added another weapon. They already have so many guys they want to throw the football to. You're not going to be able to guarantee targets for Chase Edmonds in every.
I mean, he also had a 40-yard run and then averaged.
Yeah, but I think give him more carries, he might have another one.
Well,
like Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, well, I don't think Chase Edmonds is near as good as JT, but yeah.
So is Odell out for an extended period of time?
No, he came back in the game.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he came back, but I mean, he got hurt.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 for 101 and 2 scores.
Yeah, well, he caught a Hail Mary, so.
Yeah, but it was a nice catch. Like he legit went up there.
He closed his eyes.
Well, sometimes you got to close your eyes and make a wish. Hey, Odell quietly had a good game though. 5 for 79. Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I tried to trade him away, and the guy was basically trying to tell me that Odell was shit. I'm like, okay, well, it's still Odell. He has that opportunity to go nuts any game.
And I think he outscored Singletary in this game. So
yeah, I think I tried to trade him for like Devin Singletary.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I think he outscored Singletary in this one. So
yeah, no, it's
you know what a big gigantic bright spot for the Cleveland Browns is, and not just for the Browns but for the young man in general. Malik McDowell, another tackle for loss in this game. He was a factor. I don't know if you know this guy. He was a second-round pick, top of the second round by the Seahawks a few years ago. Got in like a dirt bike accident or motorcycle accident. Was supposed to be career over. Hasn't played football in like 3 years. Comes back, makes the Browns roster, and now is basically a starter, or at least a heavy rotational guy. And he's been making plays. He had a sack last week. He's been very good. So
I mean, he's 6'6", 295.
Yeah, I loved him pre-draft. He was from the
monster.
He was from the very first draft I scouted when you were scouting Julian Davenport back in California.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. So the Browns, extremely disappointing. I thought they should have run the ball a lot more than they tried. I mean, Kareem Hunt, I know he got hurt, but just 14 carries in the time he was in. I thought it should have been 20.
And it's like he never gets hurt. And then
I know. Tough with Chubb out too, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, man, I think Cleveland, the Browns are 3-3 now.
Yeah, they are. They started 3-0.
That loss they started 2-1.
2-1, that's right.
That loss to the Chargers now really hurts them in terms of because look, this division, they're in third place in this division now. Or wait, what's the Pittsburgh Steelers record now? Is it 3-3? I think it might be. So, but I don't think they've played Pittsburgh yet, so they don't own a tiebreaker over them or anything. But I think that
they play the Steelers on Halloween. 2 weeks.
That's gonna be good. What's the Steelers record? Yeah, they're 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got the 3-3 Steelers, the 3-3 Browns, the 4-2 Bengals, and the 5-1 Baltimore Ravens. Let's go, Baltimore! Talk about a resilient. I really appreciate greatness, and what the Baltimore Ravens are as a franchise is great. Like they are, you lose all these running backs, you lose a stud cornerback. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
5-1. You know what I mean? That's just you're in a position where you're about to lose to Detroit. We'll bang through a 69-yard field goal. So anyways, let's move on.
Raiders Broncos.
Yes, I was half surprised in this one, and I was also half not surprised because I kind of felt like the team might rally around each other in this game and just say, "Hey, screw John Gruden. We're gonna come out and play."
And they did.
They were all over Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, they came out strong, scoring on their first drive with a 48-yard touchdown to Ruggs. And speaking of Ruggs, that guy is a boom or bust player. Yeah. I mean, obviously he has a hell of a game, but he had 3 receptions.
So, 3 for 97 and a touchdown for Ruggs on just 4 targets. It looks like, his volume is never going to be that of I don't know, just a high-level volume guy.
Right, boom or bust.
But it will be boom plays because that's just the way they use him. However, I'd like to see him used in the way that Miami used Waddle. I think that they're similar in skill sets, of course.
Right.
I'd like to target him 13 times, quick game. Get the ball in that guy's hands as much as possible because he can score
he's
from
a playmaker. Yeah.
And so if you incorporate some quick game with Ruggs, you can also then double move off that, and it'll make the deep game better. So it's just to me, I think that running more short routes would be a beneficial thing in many ways for him. And I don't know if maybe he's running the routes, but there's not targeting him there. Maybe he's not getting separation. I don't know, but I know that the ball needs to be in his hands more. What about some more design runs for him, things like that? Like, get the ball in his hands. That's just, you took him 10th overall. Like, he needs more than 4 targets a game. However, 3 for 97 and a touchdown. So that was an awesome performance. Bryan Edwards, same thing. Get him more involved.
Yeah,
he had 2 for 67, but cool. But what I will say, that is encouraging about the Raiders in terms of how their receiving was done. I mean, you got Ruggs had 97 yards. Edwards had 67. Waller had 59. Drake had 39. Renfro had 36, and Jacobs had 29. You know what I mean? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with basically 30 yards or more.
Right, and they all averaged over 11.
Yeah, because the guy went back to top 10 quarterback Derek Carr. I mean, he was on 18 completions, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns.
12.6 average.
Wait, 341 divided by, I want to do completions and see how much that was per completion. 19 yards per completion, 18.9.
Yeah.
So he was definitely he was doing his thing. And then Kenyon Drake outperformed Josh Jacobs on like a quarter of the touches. I don't know, maybe give him the ball. Jacobs averaged 3.3 yards a carry. Drake averaged 8.5. You know, that's more than double. It's closer to triple.
Yeah, you might want to see what else he has.
I just think that Drake is and this is not because I had Montgomery over Jacobs in the draft and all that stuff. I think Drake might be a better football player than
Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs.
Possibly.
I think that it's possible.
I mean, if they start giving him more carries, we will see.
Yeah.
But obviously, Josh Jacobs, he's a good player.
Oh, and I want to touch on this for the Broncos, right? The offense went past midfield only like once, I think it was. I saw somebody tweet this out, so I don't have the exact stat. But it took them like 2.5 quarters to get past midfield more than like one time or something crazy like that.
Well, I will tell you this: Cortland Sutton is a beast. And
absolutely,
needs to be started every week.
Yes, he's turning into a must start. You're right.
Yes,
but here's the thing: Teddy Bridgewater. You look at his final stats, right? Especially if you started him in fantasy for some weird reason. He had 334 yards and 3 touchdowns and 3 picks also. But Teddy Bridgewater was not good for the majority of this game.
Right.
Drew Lock is a better quarterback right now than Teddy Bridgewater. Just give him the opportunity. The only thing that concerns me is that this coaching staff ruined Drew Lock's mental. You know what I mean? But here's the most important thing I want to talk about with Denver, and it has nothing to do with necessarily what to do with the football game. Benjamin Albright, probably the most popular beat writer I don't know if he's technically a beat writer, but he's an insider for the Broncos specifically. He said, based on the conversations he's having, that it seems as though the coaching staff might be losing the team.
Potentially, yes.
When he says that, it's accurate information. So, because he didn't say that, he didn't say who it was that told him that, but he said, based on the conversations I'm having, I think that it's possible that the coaching staff, and listen, man, they were 3-0. Mm-hmm. They're 3-3, just like the Panthers, right? And the funny thing is, I called them the AFC Panthers on many occasions, and it's starting to look like it, right?
Yeah.
When you see Teddy Bridgewater playing, he's one of the best. He's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league through 3 games, and then you see the next 3 games, and he's playing like Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I mean? And I don't mean any disrespect to Teddy. He's a very good player, high level backup, not a high level starter.
No, not whatsoever. I mean, we knew that coming into the season. We knew that for the Panthers. He was just a placeholder last year.
I mean, look, in the last 3 games, Teddy has his averaged 64% completion, 229 yards, 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Now, let me read you the first 3 games where he was, Teddy 2 gloves. Teddy, he's averaging 77% damn near completion percentage, 275 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Yeah.
By the way, yards per attempt, 8.7.
Apparently not a guy that can do it all year.
Right. That's just kind of what you're going to get with Teddy, and you just have to hope that and listen, listen to the first 3 opponents that he did that to. Giants, Jacksonville, Jets.
Makes sense.
Yeah. The next 3, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Raiders, completely just shut that shit down.
Yeah.
It's for lack of
expose them is what they call it.
Yeah. And so they're playing the Cleveland Browns next week in Cleveland. And
it's a winnable game.
It's a winnable game, but
are
it's
they
also
going to win? No.
I could see them getting completely slaughtered by the Cleveland Browns as well. So it's one of those games where if you're starting to lose the team, right, being the coaching staff, and you go in there and get dismantled by Cleveland, I think it all pretty much starts crumbling down.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a gigantic issue for them, and hopefully that's not the case because I like Denver, and I just like them. I don't know why. Yeah. But I'd really like to see my guy, Drew Lock, get an opportunity again.
Well, he might towards the end of coming up here, really.
Teddy's playing like shit, so it's definitely possible.
I mean, Noah Fant and Cortland Sutton both showed out fantasy-wise, 9 for 97. Then Cortland Sutton had 8 for 91. They both had a touchdown.
Yep.
But other than that, not really any bright spots on the Broncos.
No, I agree. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk some Cowboys-Patriots, shall we?
How about them Cowboys?
Hey, you were right.
CDs,
you were right.
TDs.
I picked New England. I do remember that. And I even texted you during the game, and I said New England's going to win this game.
And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah, you did. But something you don't see almost ever in New England is an opposing quarterback come in there and go 36 of 51, so complete over 70% of his passes, 445 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick in a win, 8.7 yards per pass attempt, 0 sacks.
Yeah, he was great.
There's no other way to describe his performance. It was legitimately greatness.
445 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's his second 400-yard game this season. By the way, Tom Brady.
I will say, though,
Tom Brady and Dak Prescott, the only 2 quarterbacks that have 2 400-plus yard games this season.
Wow. Yeah, he's playing out of his mind. I will say, though, Mac Jones looked cool, calm, and collected. Yeah. I like this kid.
Yeah, he's good.
I mean, obviously, like we said, Bill Belichick's going to put him in the position to do the best he can with his abilities, and he is most certainly doing that.
You know what I think?
And he just got great composure.
You know what I think is the most accurate description of Mac Jones from a player comp? And it's going to be a combination, but I think you guys will like this. He's half Alex Jones.
Let's hope
he's
not.
Half Alex Smith, half Drew Brees.
Yeah.
You know, he's right in the middle.
Yeah, I like that.
So
if Drew Brees had a baby
with Alex Smith,
yes,
it would be
Mac Jones.
Yes, exactly.
Fair enough.
Oh shit, that was kind of the Pineapple Express scene right there.
Right.
Anyways, but yes, that's what I think. By the way, Dak Prescott right now has 16 touchdown passes, dude. 16.
He's an animal.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb went obviously fucking nuts. 9 for 149, 2 touchdowns with a walk-off.
He finally had that complete break. He had it last week to an extent, but this was like, hello. And I mentioned on this morning's podcast, CeeDee Lamb over the last 2 games now, 13 receptions for 233 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's well over 100 yards a game, almost 18 yards per catch, catching almost 77% of his targets.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah, he's officially, becoming the guy that you were hoping he could become. And so he's the guy that I believe he was the wide receiver 1 this week. At any point in time, this guy could be the wide receiver 1 of that week. And that's why I loved his value in the 4th, 5th round or whatever it was, in terms of drafts. So I want to see if we can see more consistent volume for CeeDee Lamb. We're going to see.
I mean, hell, he had 11 targets.
No, I know, but I'm saying he had a stretch from weeks 3, 4, and 5 where it was 3 targets, 5 targets, 6 targets. So if we can see more on the
11 target side,
weeks 1, 2, and this week 11, 15, 9. Like if we can get there, then big things are happening for CeeDee Lamb the rest of the way.
So, yeah, he's a monster. If you have him in fantasy, obviously, pat yourself on the back.
You pat yourself on the back and don't even ever ask me if you should bench him unless you're in
or trade him.
2-team league. Yeah, you're not trading him. You're not benching him. The only way you're trading is if you're getting an elite running back for him,
like Derrick Henry.
Right. Well, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
so,
no one would
but
ever
maybe
do
you
that.
could package like CD and
for like Dalvin or something.
CD and like a decent running back for
Dalvin.
Yeah, or
like Edwards Helaire and CeeDee Lamb
right now, just because I'm still a little bit weary about the injury stuff. But I think that
Aaron Jones,
whoever you perceive as an elite running back like Derrick Henry or whatever. Anyways, we'll get to that another time. But so yeah, man, I thought the Cowboys severely outplayed them or significantly outplayed the New England Patriots. I thought the Patriots did what they do. They made plays, right, on the goal. I know Dak, he got in on 3rd and goal. I get it, but that's not how it went, right?
Right.
And so on 4th and goal, the Patriots made the play there to, keep themselves in the game. And then they made another play on offense where Mac Jones throws a pick 6, comes right back and attacks Trayvon.
To talk on that pick 6.
Oh,
Trayvon Diggs.
He's just something, dude. And there's a big brewing narrative right now, and you're going to love this one as a Cowboy fan. And I'm being sarcastic. They're saying that Trayvon Diggs is not – basically that he's not that good, right? And this is just when you have success.
He's Defensive Player of the Year.
When you have success, there are going to be haters. But the reason they're saying it is I'm pulling up the advanced stats right now so I can kind of give you where they're coming from, is because he's also giving up – excuse me. He's also giving up his fair share of big plays.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. He has not. Why haven't they not? See, this is why Pro Football Reference is a little hit or miss. They haven't even. According to Pro Football Reference, right now they have Trayvon Diggs not giving up a single touchdown in the year. When we literally watched him get beat on that double move, that was him. But let's just say this:
he kind of just quit running on that
because he got roasted.
Yeah, well, he also thought that safety was coming down for help, but clearly he wasn't.
But that was 100% on him.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, even
for sure.
Even Tony said it, during the broadcast. But so yeah, he's got 7 interceptions and at least 1 touchdown allowed. But he's still only allowing, according to Pro Football Reference, so take this with a grain of salt, 6.5 yards per target. So it's not like he's being abused. Right. He's allowing a completion percentage of 47.4%. So he's not with that whole narrative of attack him more. Teams are seeing what happens when you attack Trayvon Diggs. So just take that for what you will.
Yeah, but, the Cowboys look good.
The Cowboys are they make plays on both sides of the ball.
They might be the best team in the NFC.
They're not better than Tampa.
Yeah. Okay, well they're a close second. How about that?
I'm not.
They're better than the Rams.
Green Bay. I would love to see them in Green Bay play. I wonder if that game is.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy revenge game.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Let me see if they play Green Bay.
No, they don't. But they might in the playoffs.
Oh, they almost. I would say that's a likely, possibly.
Yeah. NFC Championship.
Yeah. So, anyways, the Cowboys are legit. The New England Patriots 0-4 in Foxborough. Wow. If there was ever a time to make a case that Tom Brady was the glue that held that all together, now's a pretty decent time.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent time. Let's get to some positives for the Patriots, though. Mac Jones, he played well.
Yeah, he did.
It wasn't spectacular, but it was good play. Like, he only threw the ball 21 times, and that tells you Belichick said, hey, well, they didn't have the ball that often.
Right.
But Belichick said, let's make sure we don't allow this Dallas defensive line to pin their ears back and hone in on Mac Jones, because that's when they can be really dangerous as a defense. So Mac Jones averaged, of course, is going to be spiked by that 70-yard bomb he threw, but 10.9 yards per pass attempt, which is, obviously.
He only threw it 21 times.
Yeah, 15 of 21. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And was the interception, refresh my memory, wasn't it a tip ball? So it wasn't like it was super on him in some way. I think it was a tip ball. But the Patriots were able to also run the ball effectively. Damian, is it Harris?
Yeah. Damian Harris, 18 for 101.
Yeah, there you go.
1 touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson finally is coming out of his shell.
Did you see Ramondre catch that pass?
Mm-hmm.
That was the most important. Deep, in the intermediate areas of the football field.
I hate that he's a Sooner, but he's a good player.
Very good player. Very good player. That's going to be a nice tandem.
He was my sleeper this year.
Yeah.
I drafted him in a lot of leagues, but I've also had to cut him in a lot of leagues because so many injuries. But
yeah,
he's gonna be a good player. Obviously, I mean, Jacoby Myers did his thing again.
Yeah.
I mean,
he just does his thing all the time now.
5 for 44. I mean, he didn't go nuts, but he was effective.
Check this out. The Patriots, right? 2-4. Okay. They are also their wins. You know who their wins have come against? The New York Jets and the Houston Texans. And they eked out the win against Houston, right? Yeah. 25-22. They almost lost that game. I mean, if they would have lost that game, could you imagine? Oh, my God. If they would have lost that game, that would have been 4 straight losses. But they still have lost 3 of 4. And as you mentioned, 0-4 at home. Next week, they play the Jets. So it's a classic get-right spot for them. But then after that, it's the Chargers and the Panthers. Mm-hmm. So it's not – I mean, who knows? The Panthers, they could definitely win that game. Sam Darnold against Belichick, something tells me Belichick is not worried about that or right. Maybe looking forward to that in some way. But it is in Carolina, so take that for what you will. But then after that, they play the Browns and then Atlanta, Tennessee, Buffalo. Yeah, so doesn't get super easy, but they do have 2 easy games down or to close out their season, being against the Jaguars and Dolphins. So I don't know, man. I'm starting to think this Patriots team is a 6-win team, somewhere in that range, maybe 5. The defense is really good. That's the thing that's crazy that Dak.
Yeah, I mean they almost won that game.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean they didn't. The Cowboys are the real deal, and things are happening around Dallas right now. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Dallas is definitely the real deal. They're very, very dangerous. Are you going to move to Sunday night game?
Seahawks, Steelers.
Yeah, that was a fucking hell of a game.
I didn't
have a ton of expectation for it, and it was, a legitimately great game.
I mean, they almost won that. Obviously, Geno Smith fumbled it away, but they almost beat the Steelers.
Yeah,
with Geno Smith, and say Geno Smith, but I mean. You would think they would just be awful with him, but he played
pretty well.
Yeah,
He wasn't bad
decent.
Against a very good Steeler defense.
Yes, and obviously he's not Russell Wilson, so they're not going to have, the same amount of success. But I mean, he played a good game, obviously up until he fumbled the game away. But Alex Collins also 20 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, he's obviously a viable starter
against
in fantasy.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
At this point, RB2.
He got hurt, though.
Did he? Well,
I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him.
Another rash of injuries. Right. Well, if Alex Collins go down, who are they going to have? Travis Homer and DJ Dallas?
I don't know. They're saying Carson's a slight possibility to play, but I don't think
he's
so.
On IR.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
They were saying
for at least
he has
3
to
weeks.
work out something in his neck or something like that. So
bulging disc, I think, or something.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about Ben Roethlisberger for a second. Was it vintage Ben Roethlisberger in terms of was it old Ben?
No, absolutely not.
That's evidenced by him averaging 5.7 yards per pass attempt. However, he did complete 72.5% of his passes. He did have 0 turnovers, right? Mm-hmm. Or I'm sorry, he lost the fumble, my bad. But the point is, he played a relatively clean game, and he was able to sustain drives and things like that. So there was a lot of good in his performance in the context that what they need him to be. They need Ben to be don't lose the game Ben.
Right.
And they need rookie year Ben almost, right, to a degree. Obviously he'll be better than his rookie year Ben, but they need him to be that kind of guy because they can win games with their defense, even though, their defense at times didn't look great in that game, but they can win games with their defense if Ben can move the chains, sustain some drives, and they can run the ball and Ben doesn't turn the ball over.
When you say they run the ball, they need Najee Harris to just keep doing his thing.
I mean, look, he only averaged 3.4 yards a carry, but he was 24 for 81, and it was effective stuff.
And he had 6 receptions for 46 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is a freaking workhorse. He's
played 84% of the snaps.
Yes.
This guy's something else.
Deontay Johnson is an animal. You need, obviously, to get him involved. He had 13 targets, so they definitely got him involved. But they need to be doing that every week. Should be a 1-2 punch, Najee Harris, play action bomb to Deontay Johnson. I mean,
I think
Chase Claypool just awful.
It's all good.
Terrible. So
Case Claypool. Yeah, Chase Claypool. You ready?
yeah.
All right. Chase Claypool was, he wasn't spectacular, but the thing to me is Deontay Johnson is and always was the wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh, and the guy, to me, in my opinion, this year I think he'll have at least 120 catches when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because, there's not many guys that have 120 catches, and that's 7 catches per game on average, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this again, I've been saying it all year long. He's going to keep getting targeted because he's always open. Always. And the more success they can have running the football with Najee Harris, the more one-on-one coverage they'll have to play behind it against Deontay, and the more he'll always be open. He's a tremendous route runner. He is extremely quick. He has some ball skills for a smaller statured guy, and of course he has enough explosiveness and quickness to make some plays after the catch as well. I think Deontay Johnson's a top 15 receiver at worst.
Yeah, I mean
I'm not even talking fantasy. I'm just talking about
he's a great player.
He really is.
We
need to talk about him in that light. So.
Well, on the defensive side of the ball, T.J. Watt is worth every penny.
Absolutely.
It's
about situational football.
My God.
And he showed.
Perennial All-Pro. Yeah. I mean, he's relentless.
He's had 3 2-sack games in 6 games. So half his games are double digits. I'm sorry, multiple sack games, right?
That's wild.
He's also had 2 games with 2 or more tackles for loss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's
better than his brother.
Not his prime, not his brother's prime, but right now he's way better. Yeah, his brother's prime was unreal. He had
J.J. Watt, but
no, J.J. Watt had 69.5 sacks in a 4-year stretch during his prime. You will never see someone do that again. Reggie White had 70 in his first 4 seasons, but the point I'm making is that shit is not even. Let's go look at TJ and see. Maybe I'm crazy. Let's see. TJ over his career has 56.5 sacks in his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year career. So not as many sacks. And I know today, this year's not over,
right?
So, but. He's not gonna get 14 more sacks or whatever to be able to surpass Watt, and this is also with an extra year. But Let's say this. Let's just call it 15 sacks for this year, right? That would mean in his last 4 years, it would be 49.5 plus 57.5. So still not even close, but very much respectable, maybe the second most in that stretch if he's able to get to 15. So, which I think is very doable for him. But what do we make of the Pittsburgh Steelers now, Lay? What do we think? Are they good again?
They barely won that game. So,
but they beat the undefeated the one-lost Denver Broncos the week before, and they really handled them start to finish.
Yeah,
They beat the Buffalo Bills in week 1.
I know they did, but I don't know.
Who'd they lose to? The Raiders and the Packers.
And the Bengals.
That's right. Oh, you know what? Guess who didn't play in that Bengals game? T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt didn't play in that Bengals game.
Yeah, so they probably would have won.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, a possibility, right? He is that
an animal.
He is that.
He's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, I think that the Steelers now are interesting enough to me. Now we got the Browns. I could see any team not named the Ravens in the AFC North finish last. I could see it be the Bengals. I could see it be the Steelers, and I could see it be the Browns. So that's a very interesting division. I could also see the Browns somehow still come back and catch first place. I could see in a much less likely of situations, I could see the Bengals finish this thing as the AFC North leaders before it's all said and done. And again, not likely, but I do think that that's a possibility. So.
Right. Well, they go to bye this week, and then they're at Cleveland on Halloween. So
Yeah.
That'll be a great game. Division rival. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely going to be fun. But to me, the most surprising game of this week was the Ravens and what they were able to do against the Chargers, completely dismantle them. I was also impressed with the young quarterbacks in London. Thought that was good.
Mm-hmm.
The most disappointing part of this week was the New York Giants, undeniably.
And the most exciting part of this week was the Cowboys win.
Yeah, it was up there. They deserve credit for that because they had to face adversity. And they were able to bounce back from it. They were losing at halftime to Bill Belichick in Foxborough, and Dak just went completely insane and did his thing.
Yeah, he did.
And then also a surpriser again, even with the offensive line. I know the offensive line injuries and all the other injuries. The Browns losing to a Cardinals team without a few of its coaches, including its head coach, without its best defensive player in Chandler Jones, like that was crazy to just get completely owned from start to finish. Like Arizona was not losing that game
at all.
It was just not happening.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this potential trap game for next week? The Houston Texans are visiting the Arizona Cardinals.
They're going to get walloped.
Right. But like if you had to put a percentage, don't say 0 because that's never the truth in the NFL. Because we just watched the Texans almost beat the damn Patriots, and I know New England's not necessarily a world beater, nothing compared to the Cardinals, but what would you say the percentage chances are that the Texans beat the Arizona Cardinals next week?
5%.
That's pretty high, but I agree. I would even take it up to 7.
We'll see.
Just because it's the NFL and anything could happen. The Cardinals could go in there thinking, man, we are so fun. We didn't even have our coaches last week, and we beat up on the Browns in Cleveland. And now we're going to just dismantle, and then they could lose because it's the NFL. These guys are pros.
But I will say this. They aren't losing that game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we both just gave them a 93 to 95% chance of winning, so it's not like we're predicting it here. But Kyler Murray, man, the MVP.
He's pretty good.
Probably the MVP.
He's pretty good.
Because if you say, let's just say, if Joe Burrow is the quarterback in Arizona, what's their record? I think it's 3-3.
Yeah.
And that's Joe Burrow, who I have a ton of respect for, by the way. Like, I don't think they beat the Vikings based on how that game went. I don't think they beat the I don't know. I think they're a 3-3 team. I think what I'm trying to stress is Kyler Murray is that important to that football team. So, being that they're the only undefeated team in the NFL right now, I call Kyler Murray the MVP for me right now. Through 6 games, a lot can change.
Yes, it can.
They could get beat by the Texans next week, and that could start a 4-game skid. Crazier shit has happened in the NFL, guys. So just brace yourself, and we'll try and keep you up to date every step of the way. Like, subscribe, and do the little bell. And I'm trying to be a YouTuber now, but do all that stuff because it really does help. And we appreciate you listening, and we will talk to you probably tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later, guys.